what we're gonna do today is pretty much just like chill. I'll probably put like LAN on in the background, I guess, like maybe final day. What do you guys think? I've got final day right now. We got some BDS on the screen. Don't think I'm gonna unmute it or anything, but I could put that on in the background, I guess, if we just want to have something to look at instead of just my face cam. Yeah, I've not streamed since before I left for LAN. I wasn't actually able to stream. I was hoping I could maybe stream when I got there, but honestly, I just had zero extra energy available to stream. And I'll explain why. I'll go through all that story time in a bit. But yeah, short reason as to why I didn't stream while I was away. Yeah, I was saving all my energy for for the live shows pretty much. Archie, thanks for the 18-month Prime. Welcome back to the channel, man. And TT Shooting, thanks for gifting a sub to Star Hopper for his 4-month resub. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, what do you guys? Some people in chat asking what's AMA. AMA means ask me anything. Now, I'll obviously not answer literally every question that you guys ask. But let's talk about LAN, because I'm sure people want to know about what it was like. Very different from LANs in the past. So I'll take questions in chat and we can just we'll talk about stuff. Good job casting. Thank you, man. Bob Films, thanks for the 16-month tier 1. Welcome back to the channel, man. But yeah, if you've already asked your question and I didn't see it, don't worry about asking it again. Just don't spam it too often. Maybe just ask it once every 2 minutes or so, and I'll try and get to everything eventually. Real question in everybody's mind: who was the R2D2 scream at the end? That was Justin. Which matchup results surprised me the most? Biggest surprise for me was Renegades, because they were getting destroyed in every scrim, and I know that scrims don't directly translate to like competitive matches, but they were really different. Like they did really well. Beat Endpoint, beat Furia. Honestly, could have beaten Faze as well. I think Faze looked pretty passive in that matchup, but the finishing for Renegades, the open nets needed a little bit of work. So yeah, Renegades for me were the biggest surprise. They did really well. Proud of them. How close were you able to get to the players? So the whole LAN was run with like very strict COVID safety protocols to make sure that there was like no risk of anybody catching COVID, testing positive at all, and nobody tested positive. Nobody got caught COVID. So great job by Psyonix, great job by DreamHack running that, proving to people it is possible. In terms of how close could we get to players, pretty much just when you're walking past them. So we'd be like, hello. We walk past each other in the big like entrance area. The players would come in the entrance area. They had their own bit. The whole hype chamber Swiss Abyss section, we never went in there, or didn't have to as casters. Our studio was in a different end. Then they all had their own like rooms that they would practice in, every team, and all the casters had our room as well. So we never really we wouldn't hang out with them. But yeah, sometimes we'd be like walking past and we'd stop for a chat. Who is the tallest in LAN? The tallest is Wavepunk and Stumpy, the tallest people, but tallest players, probably GarrettG and Jory is, I suppose. We've had way taller players in the past, like Devo, Pashi. They were both much taller. Oh, Ahmad, actually. Maybe Ahmad was the tallest player. I forgot about that. Actually, yeah, true. Ahmad. I think Ahmad was tallest. He's taller than Jory. I think he's taller than Garrett as well. Why did I look so handsome? You're too kind, man. Far too kind. How was Yummy to work with? I love working with Yummy Cheese, man. I was really happy to hear that he was going to be there. So that was really awesome to have him. But yeah, Yummy's great to work with because he's got a lot of knowledge on the OCE scene, a lot of knowledge on the Apex scene, and just generally a good, good banterous guy to have around. So I like that. How tall is Ahmad? Ahmad must be like 6'4". If I was to guess, he's about 6'4". I think Stumpy's 6'6". I'm 6 foot on the dot. Well, if I'm being precise, I'm like 6 foot and like 1/8 of an inch. I'm like just above 6 foot. So I just made the cut. Is screaming during LAN not a DQ? Nah. You loved when I pulled out the sunglasses? Yeah, I did that to surprise Dazzer, and I didn't tell him or anyone that I was going to do that. I just did that as a surprise because I knew as soon as he'd see the sunglasses that he knows I'm about to roast NA. So just to get him a little bit tilted on the desk, Why isn't Squishy on my list? And what do I think about SRG with Khaled next LAN? So second question is pretty easy to answer. I think I'm really excited to see Khaled on LAN, and I think that they'll do great. So that's really all I need to say there. Why don't I have Squishy in the top 10? If you want to read a longer answer to that, go to the Reddit thread about somebody posted my YouTube video, top 10 LAN players, on Reddit, the Rocket League Esports subreddit. And I answered there all of the people asking why isn't Squishy in my top 10. So I'll just show you the comments. I don't remember all of the statistics that I put in my comment, but I did use statistics. Top comment. I've tried to downvote every comment to get my comment to the top. I can't pin my comment to the top. So I tried to downvote every other comment. Vote brigading. It's not brigading. It's only brigading if you like go to like your Discord server or your Twitch chat and tell people to vote, but I didn't do that. Oh my goodness, that was hard. That was hard to get the whole comment in the middle. I'll get to the other questions in a second, guys. So I said, a lot of people are understandably drawing comparisons between Squishy and Yannick, Sinzi, and Justin. But you need to realize how exclusive a top 10 is, with many players pop off. And then here's just some stats that you can look at on Octane GG if you want to fact check me. Justin beat Squishy in every single stat apart from assists per game, where Squishy had more. And Yannick NZ beat Squishy in every single stat category, literally across the board, everything. Now the only difference between these stats that you could argue is that Squishy played against tougher competition. No, I did calculate that. I think the average placement for a Squishy and NRG opponent was 7th. No, was it 6th? I think it was 6th, and then for Yan it was 7th. They actually, like, Furia played tough opponents as well. Like, the average finish, like, you know, placement for Furia's opponents at the LAN was 7th place. Like, they faced mostly top 8 teams, just like NRG did. And I was very impressed by Yan, so I thought he deserved a shout. But yeah, a lot of, like, pretty much every comment I've seen, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. You can type in the chat right now if you disagree. But every comment that I've seen complaining about my top 10 just says different variations of his top 10, Squishy's top 10, because he is. Like, people say stuff like, Squishy does so much more outside of the stats. But then they don't actually say what he does, or they don't say, you know, how much of something he does. Yeah, I want to see like actual takes here that have been researched. But yeah, I think Squishy had a great LAN. And I added at the end here, I was thinking of recording another video, something like who popped off at LAN, to highlight other players who did well, like Scrub, Cassio, Shotset, Dries, Senzo, Illusion, Squishy, and Express, because there's like 20 or 25 players who did really well. Yeah, Yannick NZ passes the eye test with flying colors. He was unreal. Crazy impressive LAN for him. Really, really well done, in my opinion. Like, he had to be. He was a no-brainer top 10. Derek RL, thanks to the Prime, and Alex293513, thanks to the Prime as well. An absolute trash IRL, thanks to the 16-month tier 1. Major was amazing, aside from the Grand Finals. I thought the Grand Finals was also amazing, personally. Dirty Dib, thanks to the brand new Prime. Appreciate that. What did I think of OCE's performance? I thought they did really well. I was very impressed with OCE. I didn't expect that from them. But yeah, they did really well. So congratulations to them. Anyway, I'll just put this on in the background again. You can leave Reddit for now. Sharp Spike 2, thank you for the brand new Prime. Did Complexity surprise me? Not really. I thought Complexity were going to make top 8, and they did, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I predicted Complexity to be exactly top 8, didn't I? Like, going out in the quarterfinals, which they did. So, no, I was not surprised at all to see that. TRK was so confident in front of the camera. It was nice to see. Yeah, that was really cool to see. It was great to see the Sandrock boys being so comfortable in camera. That's awesome. Quick thoughts on F1. Lewis Hamilton deserved to win the last race this season. Max Verstappen deserved to win the season. So, yeah, the race decision was really dumb, but the outcome is not too bad. Didn't you say you expect Cole to go through to top 8? Just happened to have the matchups, just like SRG. No, I think Cole I did have making top 8. They were like my power ranked 8th team. In fact, I think I predicted Complexity to beat Semper, which they did. So I wasn't really surprised by Cole at all. I thought Cole delivered exactly like they were supposed to. They did exactly what it says on the tin. Relating Wave, best shuttle ride of the event. Definitely not the one that we were on, because our driver took a wrong turn and we were in there for an extra like 20 minutes. So not that one, but Relating Wave and the rest of Endpoint were great to hang out with. When I was going there, when I was on my flight, my second flight from Amsterdam to Stockholm, I was just sitting on the plane, and in come the Endpoint boys. They're sitting at the back. Yeah, we got the same shuttle to the hotel. Pretty cool. Chief Big Fella, thanks for the 11-month Prime. Welcome back to the channel, man. You predicted Faze to have a poor LAN. I'm guessing they surprised you the most. I don't think Faze surprised me the most. I think Renegades surprised me the most, but Faze definitely surprised me. But Renegades beating Endpoint, beating Furia, and honestly, I think having a good series against Faze as well. If they just didn't miss a million open nets, they might have gone to game. They should have gone to game 5 there. So, Renegades were my biggest surprise of the event, but Faze also were a surprise. The only caveat with Faze is everybody could agree before the event that if Faze like start strong, they can go the whole way. I'm pretty sure I said that. I heard everybody say this. It was like general consensus. We think Faze are going to be shaky at the start, but if they can, if they can make it through a few days, yeah, they can go all the way. They've got the potential. Now, one thing that did surprise me with LAN, that seemed to surprise everybody, was that veterans, LAN experience and all that didn't seem to matter at all. In fact, the teams with veterans and LAN experience started off worse, and the teams that were just rookies and younger players did better at the start. So nobody really thought that was going to happen. Everybody thought Vitality would get a LAN buff, NRG would start strong. They both started off looking horrible, and teams like Faze were actually on top right from the get-go. So yeah, that was definitely a big surprise. Do you think Metza looked out of place against Faze? Will Endpoint struggle against similarly aggressive teams? I think Metza had a bad series against Faze in the playoffs, yes. Do I think that Endpoint will struggle against teams like Faze? Not really, because Endpoint have beaten Dignitas before, and I think everything Faze does, Dignitas just does a little bit better. So I'd power rank Dig ahead of Faze right now. Endpoint have beaten Dig. If Endpoint show up on their day, I think they could have beaten Faze. But Metza had a pretty bad day. Relating Wave was probably not too happy with how he played either. I think all three of them, didn't really perform, but Illusion as well really stepped up against Endpoint. He was huge, and that was probably his best performance of the entire LAN. So, Illusion peaks, and then you've got Metza, Relating Wave, Seiko not playing that great. Yeah, Faze win. So I don't think the matchup's bad for Endpoint though. I think, there's a lot of discussion about Faze being the counter to EU playstyle. And I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think that's straight copium, and I disagree entirely. I don't think Faze are the counter to anyone. I think they play really passive. I think they're super mechanical, so they can get themselves out of a lot of tough situations by just mechanicking their way out of it. But I hate their playstyle for LAN. I think that they are going to struggle. If they play like that at future LANs and other teams adapt to EU playstyle, I think Faze will get smoked. But they're very talented, and if Illusion can pop off like that, they're a triple threat. So yeah, I rate Faze. But this whole idea that Faze playstyle counters EU, I don't know. Well, apart from them being undefeated against EU, they beat Vitality, big whoop. They beat BDS, who couldn't hit an open net to save themselves. Then they beat Endpoint when Endpoint were not playing that well. I don't know. I wasn't that impressed by Faze playstyle per se. Faze struggled against Renegades. I don't know. I think it's just straight copium. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think it's NA copium saying that Faze would have beaten BDS, and it's also like a horrendous take to say that, oh, yeah, Faze would beat BDS because they beat them in the Swiss, and this team NRG who just clapped Faze, now they're getting clapped by BDS. Yeah, Faze would have beaten BDS though. It's a rock paper scissors scenario. Are you guys crazy? What are you on about? Madness, absolutely mad copium. I can't believe people would rather downplay BDS success than admit that NRG were the second best team in the day and BDS were the best team in the day, and that Faze would have probably got destroyed as well. Like Type 1 in chat, if you think that Faze would have won if they made the final, do you think they would have beaten BDS Type 1? If you think they would have lost just like NRG did or worse, Type 2. I think this is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, because BDS did not look like the Swiss BDS. They really leveled up in the playoffs. They really leveled up. Halfstar, thanks to the 34-month tier 1 Scallywaggles. Thanks to the 6-month prime. He says, love the fact that BDS won. Also love the fact that NRG tweeted out about how well BDS played. Yeah, I'll talk about that as well. TPK Proof Rock, thanks to the 32-month prime. Glithamore, thanks to the 10-month Prime. Proddy with 34-month Prime, welcome back. And Chief Big Fella with the 11-month Prime. Also, we've got Sharp Spike, Dirty Dib, Dare RL, and Alex293513 with the Primes. Welcome, guys. You're all far too kind. Now, I've missed a bunch of comments in chat. Sorry to all of my friends who I've seen names flying by, missed the comments. They're now gone because too many of you are typing, so sorry about that. But just type again if I missed something. And in response to Scallywaggles saying that you love the NRG tweeting out about how well BDS played, yeah, I think that all of the NA copium, like all of the people who are just like bathing in copium at the moment, just need to listen to what GarrettG said, because GarrettG, first time that they scrimmed BDS, even though they won the series on NA 3-0, lost the series on EU 3-2. GarrettG's thoughts on BDS coming out of that scrim was like their playstyle's pretty scary, given like imagining them playing against that on LAN, pretty scary. Reminded him of playing against Cloud9 back in the day. They could handle Cloud9 online. They couldn't, say that LAN was the same. Then, GarrettG loses to BDS and Swiss. What does he say? We can learn a lot from them. They're crazy good. Then he loses to them again in the finals twice. He says they're the best team in the world. Like, people just need to start listening to GarrettG, because I feel like his takes have been pretty accurate. Other takes that we heard from GarrettG over the weekend. He thinks EU's ahead of NA, thinks the playstyles maybe a little bit better for LAN, feels like NA needs to, make some adjustments. I feel like everything GarrettG said in interviews and in his tweets was very accurate. And I was loving it, because I was like, I remember someone else who was saying all of this before the LAN. I feel like I've seen all these takes before the LAN started from an EU caster who was very vocal about how he thought this LAN was going to go. So I gotta say, me reading all that, loved it. Loved it. Yo, Jarius, thanks to 9-month tier 1. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Garrett said NA would smash EU in Season X. Well, yeah, then he played against EU players in SMAD, scrimmed against BDS, and he started to think, actually maybe EU is pretty good. He's just a realistic guy. It's okay to be confident. It's okay to think you're going to win, but there's no point like trying to diminish one team's accomplishments, trying to diminish other players' accomplishments just to make yourself look better in comparison. Nobody wins in that scenario. Everybody looks bad. And that's what all the NA copium's been doing. It's just been like bringing down BDS achievement. Everybody's saying, oh, they would have lost to Faze. Are you guys crazy? NRG beat Faze and then got destroyed by BDS. Why would Faze have a chance against BDS on that day? Where's the haircut? I'm getting it tomorrow, man. I'm getting it tomorrow. I moved it, remember? I had to move it because I was quarantining yesterday and today as well. Still haven't had my negative test from the mail. Because in the UK, when you get back, you've got to do a PCR test and post it to, well, whoever you got it from. So that's what I did. And I'm waiting on the result. Then I can stop quarantining. Spicy P, thanks for the brand new Prime. Welcome to the channel, man. Really appreciate that. Why do I think Envy did bad? I think Envy did badly because their mentality seemed to be in the gutter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Their mentality was shocking. From what I could see on the cast, they just did not seem to be on the same wavelength at all. Thoughts on doing smug type event alongside a LAN? Yeah, I would love that. That would be pretty cool. I didn't do any additional content. I didn't stream during the LAN because I was just way too tired. I guess I'll speak about that for a bit. So I'll tell you guys why I've not been streaming in more detail. So pause questions for a moment. So yeah, I did bring a laptop that was capable of streaming to Sweden. However, the Wi-Fi in the hotel was definitely not going to be capable, so I would have had to buy data, hotspot myself, and then I could have streamed. But yeah, we had to do like multiple COVID tests while we were there, and the way that would work is you get a knock on your door at like 8 a.m. or something, and you get a COVID test swab, and then after half an hour, the result would come through to an app that we have on our phone, and every day everybody tested negative. So it was really good to see that result. But yeah, it turns out that waiting for that to happen actually makes it quite hard to sleep. I mean, it makes sense. Like when you're waiting for a COVID test in the morning, you're thinking, I can't sleep in. You know, you're thinking, okay, I've got to, you know, make sure that that I'm awake for that I'm ready for it, so I don't miss that. Because if you test positive or you don't test, basically if you don't test negative, you can't work the day. So really wanted to make sure. And then while you're sitting waiting for your result to come through, it's impossible to sleep as well, so you're just awake for 30 minutes. And then after being awake for 30 minutes, you know, doing a COVID test, waiting for the result, by then you've been awake for 30 minutes at 8:30 in the morning. It's hard to fall back asleep. So I was really struggling in the mornings to get enough sleep. That combined with the AC, like the air conditioning in the hotel rooms, was absolutely blasting. It was popping off. And I don't know about you guys, but I cannot sleep well when there's AC. I just can't. I've never had a good night's sleep in a hotel room with the AC on. It's just horrible. The rooms are so dry that my skin on like my hands and my face was like starting to look like a desert. I was like flaking. I was like, what's wrong with me? So I'm moisturizing like crazy to try and get my skin to stay on, and I'm unable to sleep. Wake up like 8 times throughout the night with just a dry mouth because I'm so dehydrated. So I was not sleeping well at all. First night that I got back here in Scotland, freezing cold room. I opened the window. It was beautiful. My room was actually freezing and I loved it. So I couldn't wait to get back for that. But yeah, that's why I didn't stream, because I wanted to basically, I was really tired every day and I was saving all my energy for the actual event itself. Luckily it worked. I was super like energized, and I felt, you know, the adrenaline plus like the excitement of the event really meant that I was not tired at all on event days. So it was definitely a good decision, I think, to just take a break in the content, make sure that I can do as well as I can on the first event in 2 years. So that must suck. Your favorite quote from the weekend. I'm glad you like that one. Thought we needed a bit of comic relief there for all of the all the tension. Just turn the AC off. I tried, but the thermostat was in Swedish. I didn't know what it was saying. It was like, you know, just all these Swedish words. I didn't know what I was doing. You and Shogun seemed really excited during SRG Energy. Me and Shogun were excited the whole time, man. Do you think that any criticism is exaggerated? EU's better. I feel like it's still close. I don't think I've seen any. I'll be completely honest again. I don't think I've seen any EU fans or EU casters, EU players being overly harsh to NA. And in fact, had the results been the other way around, if it was 4 NA teams top 8, 3 EU, and you know, NA has a winning record overall against EU, NA does better against minor regions than EU, and NA wins the other event in a sweep, I promise you that the NA fans, players, casters, everybody, personalities would have gone in a million times harder. They would have like roasted the living daylights out of EU so much that I think you guys, all you NA people, you've got off like very, very lightly. And it's really like, I think, I feel like it's really ironic to see so many people after NA loses, so many people saying, like, I watched back a couple of watch parties and I watched back a couple of like, you know, reactions to the event, saw tweets and stuff. Any North American like personality in Rocket League who's now saying, wow, so cringe, can't believe people are roasting NA when it was this close. Get out of here. You guys talk so much trash. Like, NA's talked so much nonsense for 2 years. It's unbelievable. You can't talk all that trash and then be like, boo, no, oh, you can't roast us. Nah, get out of here. Take the L and good luck in the next one. And, you know, if NA wins the next one, which I do actually think NA will do better in the next one, because now they've seen how EU plays and they're going to start trying to copy paste it, I think that NA will have a better chance, and I will gladly give credit where it's due. If an NA team wins the next one, I'll show all of you NA guys how it's done. I'll show you what it looks like to give credit to the team that wins without downplaying their achievements. Because I've seen so many like people attempted to downplay the achievements of BDS, and I feel like that's just poor form. And yeah, like I said, NA had it was easy. NA had it easy. Like we didn't even like do that, but we didn't even go that hard on them. I feel like everybody was quite like genuine and accurate with their takes on the event as a whole. Scrumptious Pizza, thanks to the 2 month Prime. Welcome back to the channel, man. Chief IOB, thanks for the brand new Prime. I really appreciate that. If NA won, you would have roasted everybody for months. Yeah, of course. Emmy was number 1. Emmy did pretty good, sure. Daniel to SSG possibility. I've got no idea, mate. I've not heard about. I've only seen like the stuff that's getting posted on Twitter. Whatever you guys know is all I know. I don't know anything else. Don't know what teams Daniel's joining, if any. Do I think BDS or Dig had a higher performance ceiling? I think the highest ceiling that we saw throughout the entire event was probably like BDS and then Dignitas as well. They were both like the two teams I think had the best play style and the best players for LAN, just across the board. Everybody like looking really good, and the play style is insane. And then yeah, after that you're probably gonna look at teams like NRG, Semper, who actually showed up pretty huge, and then maybe Faze after that. Like everybody, I've seen a lot of people doing power rankings for the LAN, post LAN power rankings, and it's like BDS, NRG, Faze. Anyone who's got BDS, NRG, Faze is crazy in my opinion. Like the Faze like Swiss matches, I didn't think they looked that good. I thought that they really looked good against Endpoint, but in Swiss I don't think they were that impressive. Everybody's saying Faze has got like the best playstyle. Is mad, absolutely mad. Their playstyle's way too passive. They're all sitting on the backboard doing nothing. Got a challenge, man. What are my power rankings? Probably BDS. Well, it depends. Like, if you're asking me power rankings on how well teams performed at the LAN, or are you asking me how would I currently power rank teams? Like, there's an event tomorrow. Who do I expect to win? Who do I expect to do well? If there's an event tomorrow or next weekend, my top 2 teams would be BDS and Dignitas based on what we just saw at this event. They'd be my 2 favorite teams to go the whole way. And then my next teams in line would be like in a bunch. I'd probably like bunch together Semper, Endpoint, NRG, Faze. That would be my next bunch. But Dignitas, BDS were the 2 teams that impressed me the most. Dignitas obviously didn't show up in quarters versus Semper. But even not showing up, they still went to Game 7 somehow. But BDS were the best team, obviously. Where do I think SSG would have placed? Well, based on how well other North American teams were doing, SSG would probably have not made it out of Swiss, because teams like NVG2 didn't make it out of Swiss. If they're not making it out of Swiss, why should SSG make it out of Swiss? So I'd have to say they're probably not making it. I'm so biased, Lamau. When are you all going to start realizing that I'm actually not biased? Like, pretty much, like everything that I've, like all my big predictions actually happened about this LAN. All the predictions, people were like, whoa, you're biased. They actually all happened. You can't call me biased anymore. I was saying that everybody's been calling me biased and SRG fanboy for years. They actually make top 8. I was like one of the only people putting them top 8. They did it. Like, you can't call me biased about that anymore. You can't call me biased about EU. I was just right. I said they're going to win SMAD. They did. I said they're going to win this LAN. They did. Like, I got all of that right. Like, you can't call me biased anymore. You have to just call me correct. But I'm the first person to correct the ones I did get wrong, such as, if you watch my most recent YouTube video, Justin, I didn't think he was going to be this solid start to finish throughout the LAN. He was NRG's best player in my opinion. But I thought he would be a lot more shaky given the motivation seeming lack of motivation that he had and lack of focus, combined with the fact that he didn't have a great regional number 3 for NA. So I got that one wrong. But I expected Garrett and Justin to be switched. Like, Garrett be that player who's consistent. Turned out it was Justin. And yeah, I feel like everybody was wrong. Every single person on earth was wrong about how important LAN experience would be. I talked about this already, including me. We all thought LAN experience was going to matter. Turns out LAN experience is in fact bad. Having experienced a LAN, terrible idea for playing a LAN now. So who would have expected that one? Honestly, Squishy is more consistent, TBH. In what way though? Like, in what series was Squishy better? Like, Justin was the best player versus Era, their first matchup. Then didn't NRG lose twice in a row? They lost to They lost to Endpoint and they lost to BDS. Now versus BDS, I think Squishy was doing pretty good. Versus Endpoint, I think that Justin was definitely at least as good as Squishy, probably better, I'd say. Versus SRG, Justin was their best player. Versus Faze, I'd say Squishy and Justin were both pretty even. I don't know. For me, Justin was the best player. It was clear as day. Clear as day. The reason why I think a lot of people don't realize how well Justin played is because we kind of expect Justin to play so well that when he goes and does his thing, when he just does as well as he normally does, it doesn't stand out because that's what you expect from him. But everybody was expecting Squishy to be at a lower level, so when he plays like better than you're expecting, it's a lot more outstanding and a lot more memorable. So, you know, get your rose tinted shades off and just realize Justin was their best player. It's like really easy. It's like not even close. Justin was easily a top 3 player for me. Squishy said on stream that if they played more safe as third man, they would have beaten BDS. Well, I don't know if he actually said that, first of all, or if you're just baiting me. But I think Squishy and NRG had a whole lot more problems than just having a safer third man. Personally, I mean the main issue for NRG that they just weren't able to fix against BDS is that BDS are just quicker. Every time the 50-50 happens, BDS are just quicker to the ball. They have a combination of things that they do better than NRG. So when you combine the ability for a player to read the game, you know, predict where the ball is going to go next, and then you combine that with their, you know, out of the block speed, BDS are just faster. BDS dusted NRG consistently, and that isn't going to get fixed by, you know, playing against teams who give you tons of space and, you know, aren't anywhere near as aggressive as BDS are. That's the main issue for NRG and for the other NA teams, is that they don't have a BDS in their region. They don't have anyone who plays like that. They don't have anyone who like cheats constantly. Like, you know how you all understand what cheating on a kickoff is? Now imagine, apply that same logic, you know, predicting where the ball's going to go on a kickoff, getting there early, beating the opponent to it. Apply that same idea to every single 50-50 and every single touch in the game. That's what BDS are doing. Now there's no team in NA that does that. NA like just runs away, gets boosts, and kind of all like backs off all the time. What that does, however, is when you have two NA teams playing against each other, very often the game looks extremely high level because everybody's got so much space, and when you have space in Rocket League, it's very easy to play well. It's very easy to make clean plays on the ball. It's very easy to be flashy and mechanical. But how many, you know, really mechanical plays did you guys see BDS hit in the grand final? Not that many. They were just like scoring goals. They were just, you know, booming the ball from close range into the net because they're there first. So that's why BDS won. They just had a better playstyle for LAN, as I and many others expected. But, you know, other people who don't, I don't know what it is. There seems to be a lot of people in the Rocket League scene who either don't understand what real high level Rocket League looks like, or they're just, you know, taking straight copium to the brain. But a lot of people seem to, you know, come up with the idea that NA is the region that gives less space and NA is more aggressive, which is crazy to me because that's so obviously not the case when you watch NA and EU play, which that's, you know, for the record, that's what I do all the time. I've watched every single NA and every single EU match that's happened for years in RLCS, years and years. And yes, it's super obvious to me. Now, the future for NA is bright. Think historically, EU was the best region for season 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 as well. I'd even go as far as saying 6. EU is still better, but Cloud9 made a god run just like IBP did in season 1. But by the time season 7 came around, so you know, when we got into the 4th year of Rocket League professional play, NA was actually better. Season 7 NA was better. Vitality won it. NA was better. Season 8, pretty close. It was pretty dead even. NA's winning a lot of LANs. They had their first all NA grand final. So what you can learn from that is that when all of the NA players go back to their region, watch the replays of themselves losing and try to learn and improve, they're more than capable of doing that. So I think that now that NA's taken an L, they're going to improve massively. Personally, I expect NA to show up huge, and I think the next LAN's going to be dead even. I genuinely do. I think the next LAN's going to be dead even. Monkey's faster because he's closest to the monitor. Indeed, now we've got an analyst in the house here. What did I think of G2? I was impressed with Dries. JNAP said, he took a long time to get going. Shame it took that long, because by the time that he got going, they were against Endpoint in a qualification match. Too late. Chicago will definitely need to step up Chicago is their best player online, maybe even the best player in the region online, but he definitely wasn't best player in NA at Sweden. So yeah, Chicago didn't play up to his usual level. But yeah, I think G2 versus Sandrock, their first match, nightmare matchup. I called it a nightmare matchup. I still thought that they would win it, because I didn't think Sandrock were going to annihilate G2 in 50-50s like they did. I thought G2 would be able to kind of level that out. But yeah, Sandrock were extremely impressive. Clutched it up as well. I mean, Ahmad in that last game, crazy. So what can you do? G2 just lost. They just got beaten by the better team. But they didn't look too bad, even while losing. Didn't peak, but they didn't look terrible. Looked better than Envy. Better than NRG, better than maybe not better than Cole, kind of like complexity level. Cole and actually I'd say G2 look better than Cole, actually, to be honest. Yeah, I think G2 are probably the second best team in Swiss round 1 for NA. They just had Sandrock against them, which is a tough draw. And I knew it was going to be a tough draw. A lot of you guys knew it was going to be a tough draw. A lot of people expected and knew Sandrock were going to be insane, but none of us really expected them to be that insane. A lot of people seem to put Sandrock 15th, which is just the dumbest take I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, anyone who came into this LAN putting Sandrock 15th, I mean, stick to your day job. I don't know what on earth you're thinking. It was so clear that they were the best. When you just look at the mechanics of the newer regions, it's so obvious that they're the best mechanics. And only Furia were like anywhere close. But whereas Furia are kind of like, even with Sandrock in the air, their ground game is nowhere near. So who's saying that? I saw dozens of like Reddit and Twitter and YouTube comments and everywhere. Loads of people are saying Sandrock are clear 15th because they're playing with Senzo now, so they're not going to have any success. Even before the Senzo announcement came through, so many people were saying Sandrock going to be 15th, and I'm like, what do these people watch? Like, how can you watch like this much Rocket League and think this? It's crazy to me. Mr. Sweetie, thanks for 26 month Prime. Says enough. What's copium? I can't hear. You keep hearing it and reading it everywhere. If you don't know what copium is, you need to get the Better Twitch TV. Is it on Better Twitch TV? I think. Yeah, it is. Get Better Twitch TV extension, then you'll see what copium is. It's an emote. But it means like, people who are using excuses so that they can cope with the truth that is not something they can live with. When the truth isn't something you can come to accept and rationalize and reconcile, you need to find coping mechanisms. It's called cope. That's what copium is. The reason copium is really, I think, blown up is because it really does provide us with a word that doesn't exist. Or is there like another word for that exactly translates to copium? Because I don't think there is. It's a good word. Elmo, thanks for the 19-month Prime. Welcome back. And also King Spectre, thanks for 59-month tier 1. Welcome back. It's good to see you, man. Arhaven 7 with the 7-month tier 1. Welcome back to you also. Excuses. Yeah, but copium is like, the act of coming up with excuses to help you cope with something that you can't, you don't want to believe. It's a short word that explains a lot. It's very cool. But yeah, there's been some phenomenal copium going around. Unbelievable copium about this LAN. You say that people are taking away from BDS accomplishments, saying their opponents didn't play well. You're not doing the same thing to Faze. 4-1 on the weekend. Wins against great teams. So when I say that I wasn't impressed with Faze and Swiss, that is to explain why I didn't think they were going to be Endpoint. When I looked at Endpoint's run through Swiss and Faze run through Swiss, I predicted Endpoint to win. But Endpoint, or what I didn't expect was Illusion to be just a complete monster. So that really impressed me. And Faze deserved the win there. Like, Metza didn't show up. Endpoint didn't show up. Illusion really showed up. So they deserve the win. But what I'm trying to point out is that anybody using saying, well, FaZe beat BDS and Swiss, so they obviously would have beaten them in the finals. Shame NRG beat FaZe just to lose to BDS. That's a bit much, you know. Like, there's very little evidence, in my opinion. Like, if you look at the BDS that lost to FaZe in Swiss, you cannot tell me that they look like the same BDS that were in the grand final and in the playoffs throughout. You just can't. You can't. I'm pretty sure BDS, when they lost to FaZe in Swiss, Extra missed a complete open net, like a wide open net from the halfway line, ground shot in game 2. He just missed a completely open net. And then I think in game 4, Monkey Moon and Mark double committed an open net, and Monkey Moon missed the ball, Mark hit the ball, and he hit it so softly that the goalkeeper just like saved it easily. So versus FaZe in Swiss, BDS were all over the place, and I think they were also double committing in defense. Wasn't there another play on DFH Stadium where I think Extra or Mark had control of the ball at the near post, and Monkey Moon was like, no, me, and he just went in and bumped them, and then FaZe scored. I was like, what are they doing? BDS are shocking right now. But even then, even with BDS playing really badly, in my opinion, they still should have gone to game 5. I don't know how they managed to not go to game 5. Well, I do. It's because they were shocking. But that's not what people see. People don't see all those mistakes. All they see is like, wow, FaZe beat BDS, therefore their playstyle's better. But I don't even like FaZe playstyle versus BDS. I think FaZe has the wrong playstyle against BDS. FaZe are like, they're pretty passive in my opinion. They like to go for a lot of boost steals and like swarming type of pressure when they're in attack, but as soon as the other team has the ball, they're not very aggressive. They run away. They back off. And I feel like you want to pretty much do the opposite. What's my creator code? It's just Johnnyboi with no underscore I. Just my name, Johnnyboi. JOHNNYBOI. I mean, what do you guys think though? Do you guys think, I mean, I asked this earlier, do you think FaZe would have won the grand final? Everybody said no. But playstyle wise, do you guys really, does anyone here really think that FaZe have got the counter to EU playstyle? Because I keep hearing people say that. Type 1 if you think FaZe playstyle counters EU playstyle. Because I keep hearing this get thrown around, this exact phrase, and to me this is crazy to hear. Like, what are these people watching? What are these people watching? Aggro likes to the 8-month prime. Do you think EU pros playing more rank 2s and NA pros contributes to them playing closer and better 50s? I think playing rank 2s is definitely better than playing rank 3s. I also think that playing ranked 1s, maybe on a Smurf if you don't want to play in your main, is very valuable. We saw a lot of success from 1s mains on LAN because okay, let me explain an idea to you guys. This will be something a lot of you guys can relate to. So, first question for you, Twitch chat. Do you enjoy playing ranked 1s? Type 1 if you enjoy ranked 1s, 2 if you do not enjoy ranked 1s. Let's get a visual here. And I'm expecting mostly 2s here. So yeah, mostly 2s, as expected. Now, let me, with that in mind, let me present to you guys a situation, a scenario. Now, when you're playing Rocket League on a LAN, lights in your face, new setup, there's so much pressure, so much on the line. The nerves and the expectation, all that pressure that's on you is not going to be as comfortable to play with compared to playing at home in your bedroom where everybody's chilling. It's just like lots and lots of pressure. Now, if you can train yourself to play well under circumstances that you don't particularly thrive in, such as 1v1. Like, if you can play 1v1 and just shrug off all the tilt, you get demoed and scored on, you get a kickoff goal in your net, bunch of stuff goes wrong, 50-50 in your net. If you can learn and train yourself to just ignore all that and keep playing at the best of your ability, then that is going to help you in a LAN environment. It's the ability to deal with pressure, the ability to deal with things not going your way, which is inevitably going to happen on a LAN. Things are going to go wrong. People are going to make mistakes. And 1v1 mains, well, not mains, but yeah, players with a lot of 1v1 history really showed that in a LAN environment, they can just shrug off all that and get right back into scoring. They're like, I don't care. I'm just going to go back and keep playing well. Anyway. even thinking, you know, Ahmad missed an open net in the series against G2, then he's like, no big deal, let me just go score like 30 seconds later, and then I'm going to pop off in the next game. You know, the ability to just like ignore things going wrong and then play well anyway. I think playing 1v1 helps you get better at that, and it really helps you thrive under pressure. Besides that, it really helps you with mechanical plays, and it helps you with efficiency, helps you with you know, ball control, helps you with 50-50s, helps you with defending. So 1v1 is, I think, extremely valuable. And I think 2v2 is the same thing. You get more, you know, time on the ball in twos. You have more, you know, times where you just have to challenge. You just have to go, because if you don't, you're in a 1v2. You know, you just have to commit more in twos than you do in threes, because there's no point going back and being stuck in a 1v2. So I think 1v1 and 2v2 ranked are way more useful than 3v3 ranked for pro play, personally. And I always have. I don't really think there's a lot of value in ranked threes. When teams are scrimming threes, and when teams are like practicing events and tournaments all the time, what does ranked threes add that you don't already have? Nothing. What are the 3 best goals of the major, in my opinion? Oof. It's a tough one to do off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, best goal of the major for me, because it was so scripted and because of the significance of it, had to be the Ahmad redirect. That's number 1 by a mile. The other 2, I'd have to go and think about that. I'm not sure. I know Jory has scored some crazy goals. So probably a Jaria's goal. Justin only plays threes. I know there's always going to be players who are really, really good and don't, you know, follow the theoretical best training regime. But Justin's just a complete nutcase. Like if you wanted to be a ones main, he could be like one of the best. Like he's just a natural at Rocket League. There's some players who are just naturally gifted. Players like Senzo who just retire, then come back, and they're a LAN boy. You know, some players have just got that X factor, and it doesn't really matter what they do, they're going to be insane, you know. But for most players, they need to follow more of a strict regime. Alushin alley-oop to first killer. That was a pretty cool goal. I don't know if I'd put it in top 3 though. Because I mean, it was just a close range, you know, aerial goal. It's a pretty cool pass, but I mean, there were some insane goals. There was also, I think, very meaningful goals. Thoughts on first killer's line? I thought first killer was really impressive. Very, very impressive. And I think FaZe will continue to be a top team on LAN. It's going to be interesting to see how well they play on the next online event. Let me see this comment. I missed it. Naywiz, how you doing, man? Nice just swinging by. Johnnyboi, didn't you say during scrims that the way to neutralize Mark was to let him make touches rather than going up and letting him beat you? With that in mind, why is FaZe sometimes giving more space on defense a bad thing versus BDS? I want to give credit to Mark rather than say that this is how you counter Mark, because online what we started to see, BDS lost to Semper in regional number 3, they lost to Dig regional number 2, they lost to Endpoint twice in regional number 1, and in all these series we never saw Mark thrive. But on LAN, Mark was really on form. He picked his battles a lot more. He wasn't making those pointless touches. So something that had been working online for EU teams against BDS, not really a factor anymore, because Mark's touches were more, meaningful. He had more direction to his play, and really he was very impressive. He was confident and impressive. Said going into the LAN, I think Mark's confidence is going to be the make or break for BDS, and Mark was confident. He called his mum before every game, apparently. I saw an article that said that Mark was on the phone to his mum, his madre, before every single game. She was calming him down. So, real MVP of the entire event, Mark by his mum. She kept him calm. He popped off. BDS destroyed. Yeah, it's really cool to hear that, though. I was really happy to hear that. Vacanis, thanks for 500 bits. Did love the casting for you and the boys. Questions: 1, can we please have a post NRG getting beat T-Bates interview? 2nd, thoughts to potential Daniel to Envy. T-Bates interview. I definitely want to chat to T-Bates on stream, of course. Try and ease the pain of the poor man who must be really in the gutter right now. Daniel to Envy. I mean, I said this before, but literally every top team, like you don't want to ever rush roster changes. I think Envy could still bounce back from a bad LAN like this. But Daniel really is that like special player on the come up in NA. So you know, pretty much any team could. I feel like any team could justify benching a player for Daniel. Like literally every team in NA could justify that. So yeah, definitely one to think about. I'll just skip here. How you feeling about NRG destroying Faze and losing to BDS? Well, what I was seeing in those matches, we're about to watch it here, so you can see if you guys agree with me. But what I saw when I was watching the NRG Faze match is both teams doing what NA does all season, just giving, you know, finding and giving each other a ton of space. Not a lot of challenges happening, but players were allowed to really thrive. And NRG were just better on the day. Illusion didn't really, you know, play to the level he did against Endpoint. You know, he wasn't, didn't completely fall off, but he didn't pop off like he did against Endpoint. But yeah, NRG were just better. They just, I think, showed up and made their plays. They were making their solo plays, making their team plays. FaZe were just not quite connecting with them. Sis said on stream BDS didn't let them do anything. Yeah, that's a very accurate take from Sis, in my opinion. I mean, when you look at what NRG were able to do against FaZe, you look at the you know, amount of time that they have on the ball, the amount of you know, free touches they're getting, you're going to see a lot. And then when you see NRG against BDS, literally every time anyone's trying to do anything, there's a BDS player in the way, ruining it for them. You know, Monkeyman's there. And you know, Mark's there. Extra's, I think Extra really showed up in the grand final. He was, you know, he saved the best to last. But it was just BDS making NRG look bad. I think NRG weren't, you know, really playing any worse. They just weren't allowed to play. They weren't given as much space. I mean, we could go through this more slowly if you guys really want to really analyze goals. We could just look at how goals are happening and see, like this is. I'll show you guys how I do it. You know, this is what I did after SMAD. This is how I came to the conclusion that why EU is able to win SMAD. I just went back and looked at every single goal and looked at why those goals were happening, what seems to be the problem, and the overarching theme was that the NA players were just backing off a lot more, and there's a lot more space for players to use. Benjamin H, thanks for the 2-month prime, by the way. And also Ross Parks TV with the 7-month tier 1. How different do you think LAN was if Khaled is here? Shout out to Senzo. I feel like if Khaled was there, it would have been a lot more pressure on Sandrock because people would have been expecting them to do well. With Senzo, nobody was expecting them to do well except me and a few other crazy people. So they didn't have anywhere near as much pressure, and that's definitely helpful. That being said, I think they still would have done really well. I think they would have performed to a similar level with Khaled, because Senzo is really impressive. Okay, let's look at this goal. See what happens here. We can... don't know if I want to unmute this. I'm not casting this one, but I am casting the next one. Shall we do that? Shall we go game sound or music? What do you guys want? Music's like super, super quiet in the background, so it's not even like music. It's just music. Do you want game sound or no? Game sounds? Okay.
Maybe getting a bit jumpy on offense.
Is that loud enough?
Retain possession, squishing in front, actually lose.
So, here we go. NRG in defense. Squishy's trying to take the ball up the back wall. Did I cast every Sandrock game? I casted every Sandrock game on the main stream, but they played 3 times on the B stream. I didn't cast any of those. I've been giving powerful information to NA for months. Nobody's listening. That's the thing, right? I even told all of you guys, I told all the NA teams what their main problem was. I told them they're too passive. They need to get up in the face of their opponents more or they're going to get smoked by EU. Nobody listened. They just didn't listen. No game sound.
Real chance of the game for NRG.
That was game sound, right? There it was. But I told them all the cheat code. Nobody listened. They would all rather like remain in denial than agree for a second that maybe SMAD did matter. Maybe SMAD did give us a little bit of a sneak peek into how the matches are going to go. Because it did. It did. In my opinion, follow suit quite accurately. The games were quite similar. Leather Couch, thanks to the brand new Prime. Welcome to the channel, man.
Maybe getting a bit jumpy on offense. They do retain possession.
So yeah, we've got a couple of NRG players here staying on the ball, which is good, but it looks like, so Justin and Squishy both have very little boost. Okay, Squishy just picked up 100. Like, here he goes. Is that GarrettG also charging out? Garrett's got boost, Squishy doesn't, but he's on the ball. Probably a bit of a mistake by Garrett there to follow. Maybe I should get the replays. Do you guys want me to get the replays here instead of this? That could be cool. Well, let me see if I can find the replays, actually. Any good stories from LAN that doesn't involve Rocket League? I mean, what do you guys want to know? We didn't really do too much because we were just quarantining in the hotel. We were in our little bubble. There was lots of different bubbles. Like, we were in a caster bubble where we could all interact with each other. The teams were allowed to interact with themselves. Like, you know, NRG were all together. And then, you know, Vitality were all together. But everybody's just in bubbles, pretty much. And I've got to say, by the way, just want to really quickly throw this out there before we look at the replays of the semi-finals and the final, maybe. Massive props to all the players. You know, the players did not have an easy task ahead of them there. They did not have an easy, requirement. They had to, you know, stay isolated and just stay disciplined for days on end in order to ensure that this LAN can continue to go ahead, and they all did it. And I feel like we need to, as a community, congratulate and thank the players for being able to do that, because I think Rocket League players and pros in the past have been criticized for being immature at times. However, in this case, there was amazing maturity by the Rocket League pros and everybody involved with this event. When you look at other esports events that are getting cancelled, that have got, you know, people catching COVID, teams catching COVID, everybody's like failing to just follow the guidelines that have been put in place. Then you compare that to RLCS, everybody just did what they had to do. So massive props to the players. I was really impressed myself, because it's hard not to think of the worst case scenario when you're at one of these events and thinking, oh man, you know, one player's going to catch COVID, that's going to be it, everybody's going to catch COVID, it's chalked. But everybody managed to do really well. So massive props, genuinely. Very, very impressive. In the esports world right now, to pull that off is pretty impressive.